Alright, so today we're going to do something called faulty comparisons, and it's actually very common error on the error ID sections, and it could come out also in the improving sentences. But the error simply is comparing wrong things, just like it's called. And the reason, I think one of the reasons why this is maybe harder in the beginning is because people speak common colloquial speech, people speak incorrectly, so it's much easier to write incorrectly. So let's try this out. I think it's much faster learning this concept by doing it, so let's do it. After sampling the coffees, the critics decided that the domestic beans tasted better than Starbucks. So take a second and do this. Pause the video. Okay. So let's look at this. First of all, I just want to point out from the other lessons that after sampling the coffee beans, this part over here, okay, this part over here is not a dependent clause, right? Just in case you don't remember, okay, it's not a dependent clause. It's simply a phrase, right? Modifier phrase, okay. So take note of that. So who is sampling the coffee? Who is sampling the coffee over here? Critics, right? And what did the critics do? They decided there's nothing wrong here. And what did they decide? They decided that. Remember, after that, and I'll do a lesson on this in the future, after that, you can do anything you want, right? You could have independent clauses, dependent clauses, you could have past tenses and present tenses and future, whatever you want, right? So after that, just, you don't have to kind of compare to the former part of the sentence. It says, the domestic beans, right, means beans from whatever country that's producing it, tasted better than Starbucks. Well, here's the error. Answer is D, because what are they really comparing? Right? Critics decide that the domestic beans, right, tasted better than Starbucks. Well, I'm sure Starbucks has a taste, but this kind of means literally how the Starbucks company tastes, or maybe Starbucks building tastes, right? So how can you fix this question? You could probably fix it by saying the domestic beans tasted better than Starbucks's beans. That would be a correct comparison. But as of now, it's beans comparing to the coffee company, right? So D is the correct answer. Faulty comparison. Alright, let's do another one. This one says annual visitors to Seoul, South Korea's Gangnam district, number almost 3 times that of Hawaii's Maui Island. Okay. So first of all, remember, in all the questions, find the subject and then find the verb. So the subject over here is visitors, okay? And the verb, strangely in this one, you could use the word number as a verb, is actually a number, okay? So, visitors number almost 3 times that of Hawaii's Maui Island. So the island and the Gangnam district over here, they're the locations that they're comparing. But what's actually wrong over here is this comparison. This comparison of visitors to that. That is for singular, right? Singular. Okay. So for one thing, right? But it says visitors over here. So how can you fix this sentence? Change it to those. Okay. And if you do that, it's a simple fix and it corrects the problem. Okay. Alright, so this one says the novel The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown was once more broadly read and more admired by adults in Japan than Richard Dawkins. So this is another faulty comparison question. You could check through everything. I think this is kind of important over here because a lot of times they do give you idiom errors, and then you could check if this idiom is correct or not. So this one says the novel by, it is written by somebody, right? So that's correct, right? Was once more broadly read means widely read, and you could tell that this is correct, read, because it says over here admired, past, and some more and more. Those are all correct, right? And by, again, who reads them? By adults, right? That's correct. I mean, there's no error there. I should have marked that. But here's the comparison, and you could tell because they use the word than, right? More than. That's the correct idiom. Remember that for the future. There's going to be really difficult questions that uses more and then something like they give you as, right? But nothing wrong there. So, was once more broadly read than Richard Dawkins. Well, Richard Dawkins is actually really famous. Well, he's a famous atheist, but he's also a doctor. And This one is comparing a person, really, really common comparison, a person to what? A book. Right? It's comparing a person to book. This is a really, really common comparison. I think they do more thing to a person comparison than anything else. So, the answer is D. Okay? Don't mind me scribbling. I'll erase it for you over here. Okay? Alright. Okay, this one says, the video game StarCraft by Blizzard Entertainment was once more widely played and was more popular among teenagers in South Korea than Sony Entertainment, right? So this is similar to another question, the question that we just did before, or if you're seeing this independently, this structure comes out all the time, okay? So find out what they're comparing. So what are they comparing over here? You could tell, you could tell that they're introducing the game StarCraft, right, by this company, entertainment company, was more, so game was more widely played, and you have the word than as a comparison. Game was more widely played than Sony Entertainment. So what's the error again? Error is D, because what are they comparing over here? The game to the entertainment company. And even though this is not a person comparison, you could tell because they have a game and then they have an entertainment company, and purposely over here it says entertainment in both.